Welcome back to the Gridiron Grind with Andrew and Lance. Today we're gonna look at how our fantasy teams are doing, look at week 8 as a whole. We've got some thoughts on that. But first, Lance, I have a question for you.
Is this a dad joke, Andrew?
What makes you think that?
Oh man. What's up, Andrew?
What do you call a can opener that doesn't work?
No idea.
A can't opener.
That's pretty good. I'll give you that one. That
I
one's
thought so
pretty
too.
good. Oh
You're welcome,
boy.
America. Never hurts to get a good dad joke every now and again.
Oh man. Well, I'm sure they don't get any shortage of dad jokes from their own dads, but it is a podcast with two dads, so it's appropriate to have dad jokes.
It just makes sense. It just makes sense. Well, let's jump into week 8. Week 8 was the week of narrow margin victories for yours truly in both fantasy and our pick'ems. It's ironic that both of them I won by 5 points, just 5 points in both. But hey, I will take what I can get, especially in fantasy, where I start out 0-3, but now I'm on a 5 game winning streak. I'm sneaking out some victories. My team's not looking amazing, but it's doing what it's got to do to win. Jalen Hurts is throwing the ball all over the field again. He got me 27 points this week. Javonte Williams has been a big pickup. Even in a loss, he still scored 17 points, almost 18. And the pickup of the day for me was I was looking at Nico Collins, and he was possibly going to play, but then on Friday, I believe, maybe Saturday morning, he was ruled out. And so I picked up one of their backup receivers for Houston, Xavier Hutchinson, and he scored me almost 18 points as well. And I had to start Malik Washington, the third or fourth string receiver from Miami, and he got me 14 points. They just did what they had to do to win. My defense didn't show up. How in the world did the 49ers give up 26 points to the Texans and lose? We'll get into that game, but they got me a -2 fantasy points. I didn't love that, but hey, a win's a win's a win. And when my first round pick and my second round pick both were out due to injury, and then my fourth round pick's on bye. I know you had some bye week blues. You'll get into yours. Sometimes you just gotta do what you gotta do to win, and I will take it. I'm flirting around playoffs right now. I think we have what 8 teams that make it. I think I'm number 6 right now. And ironically enough, if the playoffs started today, I would be playing against Lance again. So, but we still got what, like 5 or 6 more weeks before the fantasy playoffs start. So we got a little time. I can't keep my foot off the pedal. I have a tough matchup this week against the good team. We just got to keep churning, got to keep trying to get some victories. Hopefully, I can get some guys healthy and see what we can do moving forward.
That's all you can do. Yeah, this week did not. It was a mixed bag for me. I think I won three of my ESPN matchups. I lost three of my ESPN matchups. The one that really hurt me, Andrew, you beating me hurt me. But I don't remember if I shared this one with you, but I lost 97.88 to 97.4.
Mm,
So that was just
mm.
now, to be fair, um, I have a rule in life, and my rule is that my sympathy goes out the window if you don't meet criteria. And for me in ESPN fantasy football, if you don't get 100 points, my sympathy for you goes down because I feel like if you get under 100 points, you have a good week. Like I'll give another example. The um, when the Eagles played the Commanders back in the year where it was the NFC least, and the Eagles just needed to beat the Commanders for the Giants to win the division. But the Giants, I
Hmm.
think, were like 5-10 or 5-11. My sympathy for the Giants went out the window because I'm like, your record is awful. Like it's so bad that you don't deserve any sympathy. So that's how I felt on
Yeah.
Sunday. Felt bad for myself, but at the same time, no one should feel bad for me because my team did really bad this week. Like I should not have had a chance to win with just scoring 97.4 4 points, but here we are. Um, and my sleeper team is awful right now. It's just awful in general. Like I've got nothing going for me on that front, so that is still a work in progress. Um, I definitely had the bye week blues in our league. I just had so many players on bye. I think literally
Yeah.
um,
Looks like your whole
close.
bench. You have one player on your bench that wasn't on bye.
Yeah, it was close to everybody on my bench was on bye. So
Hmm.
yeah, but I mean overall, if I score 104 points with my considerable amount on my bench, that's not bad. That's
Hmm.
a good sign for the future. So it was interesting. The one part I'm thinking about for fantasy football, and this is what I don't know, is Vidal gonna really go away when Hampton comes back? He's been so good for the Chargers. I feel like he's kind of
Yeah.
wedged his way into the lineup. Like it feels like to me it'll be a bit of
Yeah.
a Hubbard slash Dowdle situation. Um,
Yeah. It's possible. It's possible. Vidal definitely played himself into somewhat of a role. Um, they'll probably do like a 60-40 split in that range with Hampton and Vidal because Hampton is just phenomenal, but Vidal has proven that he deserves playing time. I will say one concern with Hubbard is I've been hearing some mumblings, which this is you can't tell for sure until you see it, but that the Panthers are thinking of giving Dowdle more of the lion's share compared to Hubbard. We'll see. They paid Hubbard. Sometimes money talks, and Dowdle they just picked up for I think 1 or 2 years, cheap deal. So we'll see what happens. But yeah, I think Vidal definitely played himself into a role. And for me personally, in my other leagues, I think I also went 3-3. I had so my office league, my work league, my team is ravaged with injuries and disappointments. I am in last place, and I'm the defending champ. I'm doing awful, but it's not over yet. I'm not giving up hope. I think I'm 2-5 in that league, and I lost by like 8 points today, or I should say this week. Then a couple weeks ago, I lost by like two. It's just been close loss after close loss, and just can't get over the hump. But I'm not giving up. Bucky Irving's been out for a while. He was my second round pick. That hurts. Brock Bowers has been disappointment. He was well, I think actually Irving was my third. Bowers was my second round pick. My first round pick was Justin Jefferson. I got him like at pick 6, which is exactly where he should go. And he's been kind of a disappointment because the Vikings have been a disappointment. So it's been tough in that league. But the sleeper league that we're in together, that team that I have is just a squad. It is just I've had injuries in that league. I'm like, whatever. I'll replace him with this guy, and I'm totally fine. Like I have Bucky Irving in that league. I was like, all right, let me put Quinshon Judkins in there. He got hurt. All right, let me put Jordan Mason in there. Aaron Jones is back. All right, let me put JC in there. I got just guy after guy after guy in there. I have a deep team. Jaden Daniels is out. All right, let me put Daniel Jones in there. He'll carry me a little bit. I have a really good team in that league, and I'm happy about it because it's dynasty. That team is not going away.
yeah, you've got the. I've pretty much waved the white flag in that league, Andrew. There's nothing left for me to do. It's except tank. Tanking is the future of my team right now. So,
Hey, if you need some draft picks, let me know. I'm always open to trade.
well, I think right now I'm just in the hashtag tank note. I don't know if you know that for the Jazz, but they're take note. But because they've been so bad, people have been saying tank note, and that's where I'm at with my fantasy team for sleeper. It's all
That's
about
fair.
tanking right now.
That's fair. And the good thing about the dynasty and the sleeper leagues, you just get a hit on a good couple draft picks, it could totally turn things around.
Absolutely, yeah. Because even still, I'm not losing by a ton. I don't have a monster generator right now. Like for me right
Hmm.
now in fantasy football, the Jackson Smith and Jigba decision, like single-handedly propelling my team. Jordan Addison's been an awesome, like number three, number four target on my team. Um, Consistently getting a lot of points. I mean, he's gotten over 10 points every game he's played.
Yep,
So
he sure
he's a
has.
consistent.
And I will say that J.J. McCarthy is starting this Sunday, and we'll get into our game picks
Mm,
in our next episode. But I will say in training camp, because Jordan Addison couldn't play the first 3 games, in training camp, McCarthy and Addison had a killer connection. Their chemistry was off the charts. McCarthy would target Addison almost every single time, and it'd be beautiful. So they have a really good chemistry. And McCarthy's never played an actual game with starting offensive linemen and with Jordan Addison. So it could look Jordan Addison could be looking better. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah. I think my big question right now is I don't know what to think of Caleb Williams. Um, he
Hmm.
had a great start these past 2 weeks. He has looked meh. I
Yep.
mean, 14 points against a Ravens defense, which is a bad defense. Um,
Well, the one thing I will say with the Ravens defense is this is how they looked last year. Like the first 5, 6 games, they looked bad. And then somehow, I don't know what it is, but they flipped a switch. And the second half of the year, the Ravens defense looked good. Is that happening now? It's too early to say, but all I know is they still have talent on that team. Kyle Hamilton, they have Marlon Humphrey. They picked up some draft picks. The safety they picked up from Georgia, I forget his name, Malachi Starks. They have some dudes back there. They just haven't been playing well so far this year. Is it time to flip the switch? Who knows? We'll see.
yeah, I mean, the part I'd say about flipping switches that I'd qualify for that is it's hard to flip out offensive or defensive coordinators and really get better production with the next person.
Yeah.
I'd say the one exception for that, who's the Buffalo Bills offensive coordinator? It's something Brady.
Yes.
Is it Joe Brady? Yes.
Yeah, that sounds right. Yeah.
But when they promoted him in November of 2023, like that decision that saved the team because Dorsey was
Hmm.
just absolutely tanking um, that group. Um, so I don't know. I think it's hard to have that type of success where you flip out, put a new coordinator in.
Well, I don't
It
think the
doesn't happen
Ravens
very
put a new
much.
coordinator in. I just think that
Right. No, they
somehow
didn't.
they figure it out and
Yeah.
things look different. And again, this is one game, so it's too early to say. And then they play Thursday night against the Dolphins, so we can't really grade how well their defense is playing against the Dolphins. And then after that, they play the Vikings. You can't really truly grade how they're playing. Their defense is playing when they play the Vikings because they're probably gonna get 19 sacks. So I don't know. And that's the thing with the Ravens. Their schedule the second half of the season is pretty light. So this whole notion 2 weeks ago that the Steelers just were cakewalking into a division win, I don't know. I was pausing on that a little bit. Now the Steelers have lost 2 in a row. Ravens win, and they have an easy schedule rest of the way. I mean, there was a couple games on there that's not going to be easy, but overall, it's not that difficult. They have a shot at this division still, and I'm if I was going to pick between the Ravens and the rest of their division, I probably just slightly lean Ravens because they are the most talented team in that division still. So things could get interesting. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah. I think that, for the least contender, that the least division as far as competitiveness and quality is the AFC North this year. That's the worst
That's
division right
fair.
now in football.
That's fair.
I mean, just looking across the board, I mean, the NFC West is a great division this year. NFC
Yeah,
South's
that might
kind
be
of been,
the West might be the biggest division, like the deepest.
I mean, and it's kind of tough because the North could be too. It just depends on the Bears at this point. Um, are the Bears for real or are they not? And I don't know. I
Hmm.
just felt like that was the game they should have won. They should have beat the Ravens, especially with Lamar Jackson out. That's inexcusable. You have to win the
Hmm.
games that you can win, and that was a can win game.
They
I
put up a
guess it's a
clunker.
can't win game, Andrew.
Hmm.
Uh, yeah, actually, one thing just talking about games is that Commanders game. Um, Dreadful offense by the Commanders, just dreadful.
Even though the
I think.
defense kept the Chiefs out of the end zone the whole first half. Defense did their job.
Well, it also just kept him out of the end zone. There was two interceptions by Patrick Mahomes.
Exactly. Hmm.
I mean, that's different than to keep him out of the end zone. Like you're turning the ball over and giving it to your team, and they just couldn't get going. Um,
Yeah, and it's Mariota, so I give him I don't give him a pass, but I give him kind of a I understand because Mariota is he isn't that dude. And I remember there was a play, it was a like 4th and 1, like on their 40 or 35, where they could have kicked a field goal, but it was 4th and 1. All right, they go for it. That's fine. I don't disagree with that decision. What I do disagree with is I don't know if it was the play call itself, but instead of getting 1 yard, Mariota chunks a deep ball into the end zone.
Yeah,
What are we
I know
doing?
exactly what you're talking about.
What are we doing? Just get that first down, and then on first down, you can chuck it into the end zone and take a shot. That's totally fine. Understand that. But 4th and 1, just get the 1 yard, lean forward. But this is my problem with KOC as well. 3rd and 2, 4th and 2, pass, pass, pass. Run up the middle, get 2 yards. But instead, they chuck it in the end zone, turnover on downs.
Yeah, it's weird how that's worked out. One thing I was gonna mention too in this game is um, Mariota's two interceptions were just absolutely killer. They just took the
Yeah.
killed drives. Um, and by the way, on the Patrick Mahomes note, I don't think this guy's in the MVP conversation. Like to me, the performance on Monday night should firmly take him out of the MVP race right now.
I can agree with that for right now. A couple weeks ago, when they were on their winning streak and he was carrying the team, he was in the conversation. Now, a couple games where he hasn't been like killer, killer. I can agree with that because there's guys that are just playing insane football right now. Like even though Dak Prescott has a losing record, he's playing insane football right now. Daniel Jones, Sam Darnold, Drake May, those guys are in the conversation. Patrick Mahomes is kind of probably that next tier where he's looking in like, hey, I'm not going away, but I'm not in that conversation fully just yet. So I can agree with that.
I just want to look at these other quarterbacks. I guess Josh Allen has the same amount of picks. I just feel like that if there's one stat where it's like it really hurts your rating, it's interceptions. I mean, Baker Mayfield has two
Yeah.
interceptions. Jalen Hurts
Oh yeah, I
has
forgot about
one
Baker. Baker
interception.
Mayfield's definitely in that conversation as well.
Um, who's Jonathan Taylor, of course, is in the conversation. I feel like he's the
Hmm.
Saquon Barkley this year. I don't think they'll seriously
Yep,
give him the award.
for
He'll be the
sure.
offensive player
Yeah,
of the year.
exactly. 100%.
You know, I wish they had a different award, um, like most improved player or something that really captured like what's happening with um, something like what's happening with Sam Darnold and Jonathan Taylor type years. It's not
Hmm.
just comeback player where you're coming from an injury, which I think Jonathan Taylor should arguably be in that conversation because he had an injury a couple of years ago that really did hurt him, even last year.
Yeah.
Um, but
I will say right
yeah,
now that Patrick Mahomes is, for some reason, I don't agree with this, but he's the odds-on favorite to win right now. I'm just looking at a random odds place, and he is the best odds to win as far as like the betting market goes. And that I don't agree with that, but that who is what everyone thinks is going to win as of right now. Josh Allen is second, which again, I don't agree with that. Drake May's third. I can agree with that
mhm.
one. Jonathan Taylor's like sixth right now. I'm like, I don't know if I agree with these numbers, but that's what the betting market sees right now. Is Mahomes is the favorite.
So interesting. I think Drake May should absolutely be in there. Um,
Yeah. Yeah. Him being
in
third,
fact,
I'm fine with.
I think he should be higher. Sincerely, I think he should be higher than that.
Yeah. That's fair. Yeah. The
He's
conversation
looked that
basically
good.
is between him, Jones, and Mayfield as far as quarterbacks go.
What are we doing? I mean, Jordan Love's fifth?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah. I mean, I'll give him credit that he had a good game. What was that, Sunday night when they
Hmm.
played? But that was partially Tucker Kraft just running by people. And Jordan Love has had 2 or 3 games where like, what are you doing? And then he's had 2 or 3 games where like, oh, I can see it. So he's just inconsistent. And inconsistency shouldn't get you MVP consideration.
That is so weird that Patrick Mahomes is at the top. I thought for sure after Monday night he would move down.
Yeah.
Um, man, and Jalen Hurts is nine. I just
Yeah, that is disrespectful. He should be above like the Aaron Rodgerses of the world, Jared Goff's, he probably should be above Jared Goff. He should be probably above Jordan Love. I can understand John Taylor being above him for now,
Yeah, I mean,
but
if
yeah.
I was gonna put, I'd put Jalen Hurts strictly at five. Like he's just now after these past 2 weeks in the conversation. But
Hmm.
I'd put Patrick Mahomes at sixth.
Hmm.
I might even put Josh Allen outside. I don't know, man. I feel like he's had a couple good weeks, but there's been other weeks where I'm like,
Yeah.
we'll see. It's really young.
It's early.
Obviously,
It's early. Yeah.
there's no consensus. There's no consensus, um, and we'll just have to see how it goes. I also feel
Hmm.
like that. I know we've talked about this, Andrew, and this has driven you nuts, but head to head matters in these type of races. If you've got the win over them, I'm sorry that you lose your chance to, you know, like for example, if somehow it came down to Jordan Love and Aaron Rodgers for the MVP award, I'm going to want to give it to Jordan Love because Jordan Love balled out against Aaron Rodgers.
Especially if you looked so much better than the other one. Like if this was like the Super Bowl matchup between Mahomes and Hurts where they both were killing it,
Yeah,
then
that's
if
fair.
the loser got it, I'd be like, yeah, whatever. But yeah, that game that example you gave, Aaron Rodgers looked cooked, which he has looked all year. And I still am confused why everyone thought that Aaron Rodgers lit up the Vikings defense for like 190 yards and 2 touchdowns. So I'm sorry, that was great. Great job, Rodgers. That was phenomenal. But yeah, he was getting way too much credit so far this year, and now it's finally come back to roost. That is, oh yeah, he's old and he's just a check down merchant. That's all he is, and that's gonna come back to bite you sometimes. And the Packers are ready for that.
Yeah, I mean the this is a hot take, and maybe you'll disagree with me, but I felt like the Steelers lost that game more than the Packers won that game because the Steelers had a
Mm,
lead. They were looking pretty good in the first half, but their offense was just so bad. They
hmm.
couldn't do anything. How many times did Chris Boswell kick a field goal on Sunday Night Football? Um,
Well, I believe because I watched the second half of that game, and I think they were saying that like the Steelers had like a total of like 50 yards going in deep into the fourth quarter in that second half. Like their offense was just dead in the water.
yeah, I just that's the sorry, I'm looking at the Packer stats. Yeah, Chris Boswell had four kicks. I just
Hmm.
and that's the majority of their offense for the
Hmm.
most part. So yeah, you got a couple touchdowns, but one of them came late. And that was definitely a garbage time touchdown. Who did he throw that
Hmm.
to? Was that Wilson? He
The
threw it to
deep
Wilson, but that
Wilson,
was
that's right, and that was the one that was almost incomplete.
right. But it was such a garbage time touchdown. Um,
Hmm.
yeah, I don't know. I have my thoughts on that, but that was just a very disappointing performance to me from the Steelers. I really thought that Aaron Rodgers was going to play a little better only because the fact it was a former team. I thought he would be motivated of like, I got to
Yeah.
prove myself. I have to show what I am. And that is definitely not what happened. You did mention you want to talk about the Falcons Dolphins game yesterday. So I don't know if there's anything you want to share on that note.
That's just how disappointed that I am with the Falcons. I mean, what is this team? They play so well against the Bills. Their defense just smothers the Vikings offense and JJ McCarthy in week 2, and yet they get shut out by the Panthers, and then the Dolphins just destroy them, make them look silly. What is this team? I know they're missing Drake London and they're missing their starting quarterback. That's a big deal, but they're going against a 1-6 team that looked like they should be firing their coach. And yet they let Tua throw 4 touchdowns against them. I mean, what are we doing, Falcons? And I'm like I mentioned in our other episode, the one silver lining from this, the only one I can take over is I don't have to worry about hearing any Kirk Cousins talk, any trading for Kirk Cousins because our quarterback placement. So nope, don't got to worry about that anymore. Do we need a
No,
third quarterback because Wentz is now on season-ending IR? Yes, but we're not trading for a $40 million third-string quarterback. So we'll probably pick up someone off the heap like a Desmond Ritter. He was in our building for about a month. So we'll probably get him as our third string quarterback. Rosenberg's going to be our backup. McCarthy's going to be the starter. So I'm just happy that no Kirk Cousins talk. He probably should retire after this season, even though he won't because he's going to get a good paycheck. So why bother? Just show up to practice, work out, get paid $40 million, and then go home to your family.
Isn't it
Brilliant
palatable
idea.
for the? I thought the Falcons just needed to keep him for this season and they could release him. That was my what I remembered. I thought that
This
the
this is
cap
the second year.
situation.
This is their second year. Yeah, I think it was like 2.5 years guaranteed, basically. And then, so yeah, they probably could get out of it next year and not kill their
Yeah.
cap. So that's a good point.
So I do think that you're right about being his last year. I just he fell off a cliff, man, and I just think that
Hmm.
that leg injury is just hard to come back from. It's hard to come
Yep. I
back
mean,
from,
and
and he's
Rodgers
clearly not the
experienced the
same.
same thing, and
Mhm.
he's just too stubborn to go away.
I mean, to be fair, he is having Russell Wilson-esque success in Pittsburgh. Like I put it
Okay.
about the same bucket. It's like,
Yeah.
okay, you proved you had something left, but I don't know what you proved.
Yeah.
Does that make sense? Uh,
Yeah.
Um, I will say too that it doesn't surprise me that the Falcons running game has a bad day and the rest of the team has a bad day.
Hmm.
Like I feel like that's what the
Hmm.
off they're too dependent on the running game. I talked about that after the Vikings win. That
Hmm.
sure, it's a great feeling, but um,
The one counterpoint I would make is they should have been able to run the ball against the Dolphins defense. Dolphins were giving up gashes. I mean,
yeah,
Dowdle had over 200 yards rushing against them. So
right.
Bijan and Algier should have been able to run the ball against the Dolphins, but they
I
didn't.
mean, but they had 17 carries, so like they gave it a go. Like, if you get
Hmm.
close to 20 carries, you really tried, and you only got 2.6 yards a carry. It's not
Yep.
good. That's
Nope.
really bad.
And that's at home
Um,
too. Mm.
yeah, they're definitely frauds. I've said it before and I'll say it again. This
Yep.
this is not a team that's going somewhere for the playoffs. I don't see it. Another weird game though. You mentioned it was the Texans and 49ers. Like what a weird outcome.
I know. I was looking at that, and in my other podcast I have, which is just fantasy football, I pick every game too. And I was saying in that episode that for some reason the Texans are favored in this game because I always pick an upset in that show. And I was like, well, I'm picking the 49ers. This is an easy upset pick because they're playing a Texans team that can't pass protect and the receivers are hurt. And yet somehow the betting market was correct. The Texans should have been favored because they won. That was wild. I think I chalked this up to one of those games where the 49ers just had a trap game. They just didn't show up. They're like, yeah, it's the Texans. We don't got to worry about it. They're missing Nico Collins. They're missing the running game. I mean, Nick Chubb isn't the same, and Woody Marks is a good, nice player, but he's not anything to be scared of. And the Texans defense is good, yes, but we'll just run the ball, chew clock, maybe score 17 points, come out of this win 17-9. But nope, Texans showed up. They have a lot of heart. I'm a huge CJ Stroud fan. One of the things I really love about him is every time he gets interviewed, every single time, the first thing he says, I just want to thank God, my Lord and Savior, all glory to him. And then he goes on to talk about the game. I love that about CJ Stroud. He's very humble and shares his faith. That's awesome. But they have been a bad team this year. And
They
somehow
have.
they find a way to beat a 49ers team that's overcome a lot of injuries. Good job, Texans. That was,
Mhm.
that was impressive. That was impressive. But I think it was more disappointing in the 49ers that they just didn't show up.
Well, the interesting part too was the 49ers did get a single sack. None.
Hmm. Hmm.
What does that mean? I don't know. That is very surprising to me. I just feel like that this is a good steal of a win by the Texans, but I still don't have faith in that team. I just don't see it. I don't feel
Yeah.
like they have the pieces to come together. Um,
Yeah.
yeah, I don't know. I just and also like speaking of teams, I don't even know what to think of. That Broncos Cowboys game is another example of I just don't want to think about that game. Like
Yeah.
Dak Prescott looked bad,
Kind of
um,
did.
and it's almost like the Cowboys are destined to have one good week, then a bad week, one good week, bad week, one good week, bad week, and it's like it's just going to repeat itself till the end of the season,
Hmm.
and they'll end like 9-8. That's what it feels like it's going to happen.
Hmm. Hmm. The problem with the Cowboys though is just that defense. I mean, if you put up 24 points in an NFL game, that's decent. You normally have a chance to win by scoring 24, but their defense just can't keep teams even under 30. That's how bad their defense is. That's the concerning part is Dak's got to be Superman and carry this team by scoring 30 points a game. And there's going to be times where that just doesn't happen. It's the NFL, it's tough. And your defense is just giving everything away. I mean, the Broncos don't have a good offense. The offense is their weakness, and they put up 44 on you. That's a problem. I mean, J.K. Dobbins had only 15 carries, 111 yards. He's almost averaging 10 yards a carry. I mean, it was like almost 8 yards a carry. That's insane. And Bo Nix only had 10 incompletions and 4 touchdowns. I mean, Bo Nix isn't a great quarterback. He's decent. He's got some spunk to him, and he's very athletic. But as far as pure passing, he's not there yet. And you let him throw 4 touchdowns on you. It's that defense that's concerning.
Yeah, I hear you. But yeah, I can't believe Bo Nix had 4 touchdowns. Um,
Hmm.
he looked like Superman. Troy Franklin actually had a great game,
He did.
too. 89 yards, 14 average, or 14.8, 2 touchdowns. Props to him. Yeah. And that Broncos defense continues to add up to their sack total. Only 2 sacks, but they're still adding every week, getting
Yep.
sacks. Um,
The
yeah.
Broncos defense is kind of what the Vikings defense was kind of supposed to be this year. Very aggressive, getting sacks, forcing turnovers, kind of carrying an offense that's kind of, struggling a little bit, trying to learn itself, get things together. But the Vikings defense have not been that this year. Not at all. They did that one game against the Bengals, but the rest of the year, they're like, we'll just kind of play average.
So, the other game I wanted to talk about a little bit, we kind of already dug into it, but do you think the Ravens just played better because they finally switched out QBs? Do you think that was the key, or
I think that
what?
was
What
part of
ultimately
it.
did you?
I think that was part of it because in their last game, I think it was against the Rams before their bye, they switched to Huntley like in the third quarter or something like that, and that game was competitive. They were down by 2 touchdowns, but their defense kept them in the game. I think they only gave up 17 against the Rams, which that's impressive. So I think the switch to Huntley was part of it, but I really think it was their bye week. They went to their
Mm,
bye. They they try to figure things out on defense, and the Bears' offense is a good offense. It's not elite, but it is a good offense. And for the Bears to keep them to 16 points, which I mean, if the Ravens keep them 16 points, but the Bears had some red zone attempts that they just failed in. So this game could have been a little different if they score. I think there was one where there was like a fourth and goal, and they tried a QB sneak, and it didn't work toward the end of the game. So this game was close to being a little different. But I think it's more of their bye week. They got their defense under control, and they went back to the ground and pound. Derrick Henry had over 20 carries. So Huntley was a factor for sure. I think it's that they try to figure out their defense. And until Lamar comes back, which he should come back Thursday, they'll probably lean on their defense more than their offense.
mm. Yeah, it's interesting, man. It's just fascinating the way this season's unfolding. I'm really
Hmm.
um interested to see how everything goes as far as playoff wise, but it's crazy that Patriots are on top of their division right now. Colts are the number one team
Yep.
in the AFC. Uh, Packers have one less loss than the Eagles and Buccaneers, so they're on top of the NFC for now.
Because of that
I,
stupid tie.
but it's like I'm really interested to see what's going to happen here with this. I'm looking 2 weeks ahead right now, Andrew. We're on a bye week, and by the way,
Yep.
um, one of my favorite college football teams and the Eagles are on a bye this week, so I'm slightly dying inside. I hate when they
Mm,
coincide for a weekend because it just makes that
that's
weekend kind of
rough.
like a meh weekend.
That's rough. Yeah.
Um, and it's kind of nice because you don't have to worry about losing, but still at the same time kind of sucks because you're like,
Hmm.
still I wanted to watch something.
Hmm.
Um, so it's all right.
Yeah,
I mean, the
I think the
Broncos play this weekend.
Packers I think the Packers leading the NFC is more fraudulent than the Colts leading the
Mm,
AFC. It's close because I don't think the Colts are a true number one team in their division. but the Packers, they're not as good as the Eagles. They're not as good as the Rams. They're not as good as the Bucks. I think they're on a level below that. They're a really good team, but I don't think they're on that top tier right now. And I think it just comes down to their offense. I mean, Jordan Love sometimes looks phenomenal like he did Sunday night, but then there's times he just looks like he's okay and it doesn't carry his team to win. So I think he's on that second tier. Like I think he's on the tier let me think what kind of teams like maybe with the 49ers. Like I don't think the 49ers are on that first tier, but I could see Packers and 49ers kind of being the same kind of grouping together. I would say the Seahawks as well. I don't fully buy into the Seahawks yet, but I know they're a good team. So I would say it's more like Rams, Buccaneers, Eagles at the top. Then next tier would be Packers, Seahawks, and 49ers. That's kind of how I would see it. And the
You could put
Lions,
the uh,
Lions are probably in between those two because the Packers beat them, and they beat them badly. So I don't know if I can put the Lions above them, but I can't put them below them either. So we'll see what the Lions are after their bye week. If they totally destroy the Vikings, which they probably will, then they're probably in that first tier mix as well.
yeah, no, that's fair. Well, we'll see how it unfolds. Really, really excited to dig into our picks for next week because
Hmm.
there's a couple of good matchups. There's a couple of good games that are kind of like
There
we'll see what
is.
happens.
Yeah.
Um,
Isn't Bills Colts? No, it's Colts
it's the
Steelers.
it's the
It's
Colts and
Bills
Steelers.
Chiefs. Bills Chiefs is
Yes,
the good one. Okay. Hmm.
yeah, that should be a good matchup. Um, Man, that Sunday night game, the Seahawks and the Washington Commanders. Uh, it's so disappointing. I feel like I know how that's going to go, and
Hmm.
it's going to be a lopsided fest where Seahawks are just trouncing.
Monday night's even worse. Cardinals and Cowboys.
Is that worse? That actually might be a tough game.
Well, I say worse as in it's two not great teams.
I
It
see
should
what you're
be a
saying.
competitive, fun game, yes, but it's two teams you're like, eh, do I really want to watch them?
Well, man, we just got to get through the bye week, but for the Eagles and the Buccaneers, and then when we get on the other side, there's some really good matchups. Um,
Hmm.
in the next week. That'll be interesting. Jacksonville, Houston. That's going to kind of be fun to see in a couple weeks from now.
Yeah.
Um, so yeah, I don't know what to make of the Steelers right now. I really don't. That is, yeah. I thought they were going to cruise to the division, but they've left the door open for Baltimore. It's a tough door. I mean, they've really got to
Yeah,
they got to thread that needle.
they do. They do. But on October 29th, when we're recording this episode, I'm going to call it. I think the Ravens are winning this division.
Oh, really?
I don't believe in the Bengals. They'll be competitive, but I don't fully believe in them. And the Steelers are looking a little fraudulent, little concerns there. And the Ravens' schedule, I think, is going to keep the door open enough. They're going to get healthy. I'm saying Ravens win this division.
Yeah, and it was, by the way, such a weird game with the Jets and Bengals. Super happy for Justin Fields. He had a rough week,
Hmm.
especially with getting attacked
Hmm.
by his owner.
Hmm.
Um, I really do feel bad for him. That was not cool what the owner did to him, in terms of just
Yeah.
trying to make him look bad and embarrass him. Um, and the owner could say whatever he wants to. He could try to justify it and say, he's just acknowledging facts or he's not trying to be offensive. But it's the whole team, man. It takes the whole team to win. It takes the whole team to lose. Um,
Hmm.
and also on that note, we talked a little bit about Wentz yesterday. Um, I just want to give him a shout out. Playing with a torn labrum for 5 weeks. Wow. Um,
Yeah.
I just I wish he had a better record because after finding that out, he would deserve comeback player of the year conversation to me because you come back to play and you tear your labrum and you still play your
Hmm.
hardest. Wow.
Hmm.
I know that the NFL would probably not do that, but he would deserve votes to me.
You hear that, Kirk Herbstreit? That's why he was emotional. Give him a break.
I really he needs to go back to college. I really
Hmm.
mean no offense on that, but the game
Yep.
is beyond him. Um, in fact, just like a quick side note of the story, do you remember a couple of years ago? It was like the first year of Thursday Night Football on Amazon, but they did a game in Cleveland, and Cleveland put their guy logo on the field. Do you remember this?
I don't know if I remember that.
It looks kind of like an elf. He wears like a beanie, and but it's like all
Okay.
Browns get out. But
Hmm.
like Kirk Herbstreit was like completely clueless, had no idea what it was, had no idea that there's this alternate logo, and like when the commentator's informing the color commentator about a football fact, you know you're
Yeah.
off to a bad start. That should never
Yeah.
happen. The college commentator
Hmm.
is the one that's supposed to know all the inside and out facts of the NFL. And yeah, it's just continued from there, man. And so
Hmm.
so Amazon, this is a request to you. I'm sure you're listening to our podcast. Please let us
For
know when Herb
sure.
Street's
Yeah.
contract is running out, and then go out and get Greg Olson, like the Gridiron Grind has officially endorsed, in the
Yes.
new commentator MVP or new commentator race for Amazon.
Yes. He should be the number one contender for sure. He is one of the best, if not the best.
Can you believe he stuck around at Fox?
Yeah, he must really love it over there.
I can't believe it.
Hmm.
Just to me, like they've got the gig right now because you put Tom Brady in the more in the, like the early slot or afternoon slot, and then you just flip it to have Greg Olson the other one. And then, there's a good chance that 40 to 60% of the nation is going to get solid commentating from start to finish. It's
Hmm.
awesome. Yeah, not every network can say that for sure. So,
Yeah,
um, yeah. Anyway, that's enough of that. I just had to make a side note to tie that in. So
for
props to
sure.
Wentz. Um,
Hmm.
I hope that KOC does some of the things we talked about yesterday. I'm looking forward to seeing what happens in this Lions
Hmm.
game this week. It's a good matchup. The Lions were on a bye last week, right? So it's
Yes.
going to be tough. It's going to be tough. I mean, they
Yes.
did have a mini bye for the Vikings, and
Minnesota's had the worst rest schedule in the league right so far. Coming off of their bye, all right, let's get rested up, let's get healed up. They're coming off of their 2 week trip overseas. You think, okay, bye week, we should have the advantage. Go against the Eagles, who had their mini bye as well. So not really in favor there. And then coming off your mini bye shortly after that, like 2 weeks, literally 1 week later, because you had two games back to back in the same week. You're like,
yeah,
okay, mini bye. Hopefully we're rested. We can get prepared. No, come against a team that had their full bye already. So the schedule wasn't very much in favor for the Vikings this year.
yeah. I mean, it's tough, man. The schedule can definitely affect your outlook as a team.
Hmm.
So for them, it did.
Yep.
But yeah, that's my week 8 thoughts. I can't believe, man, week 8 is done.
We're halfway through the
Crazy.
year. Hmm.
Yeah. Well, we're technically like 48 point something of the way through, right? Because it's
Right. Right. Because 17 games. Yeah.
yeah, but yeah, man, it's fun. I love it. It's the best time of the year. Love watching football. And
Hmm.
yeah,
Absolutely.
so
This is the good stuff. Well, everyone, thank you for joining us this episode of the Gridiron Grind with Andrew and Lance. Be sure to like, subscribe, and comment, and we will see you next time.
we'll see everybody.